Abuja.
Thank you. And of course, Honorable Dalhatu Ezekiwl Musa is in the studio this morning, the former chairman of Public Complaints Commission, FCT, joins us also for Townhall today. But Honorable Ezekiwl is owing the elders on Townhall some things that the gods will take because he has not been present for a while.
He will pay.
Okay, good.
No escape.
No Honorable, you're welcome, sir.
No problem.
It's good to have you. And of course, we also have a guest with us in the studio, a man who has looked at the ring and say, I'd rather just be inside this ring and make this thing work than be outside and keep speculating. Just like yesterday, the Summer Slam. So I don't know if you saw it.
What Summer Slam?
Okay,
Wrestling,
that's fine. It's okay.
I was watching the Tigers.
Man you now, if you don't jump up.
No. I was watching our girls. I was watching our girls play basketball. Yeah.
Great. I mean, we were watching SummerSlam because of what it was. I mean, John Cena and this other guy who brought John Cena to say you must come into the ring. This fight, we must fight it. I must get this. Yes, and I must get this belt. So this man has also decided that this fight, he must fight it. Rather fight it.
The good fights of
the ring.
Political ring.
Yes, the political ring. And Mr.
Robert
Madaki is in the studio with us. He's the candidate for YPP and also vying for the position of chairman for AMAC in the FCT. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And it's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
There's a lot we would want to talk about as it concerns the FCT, but we'll start our conversation from the demolition in Karasana community. Of course, and we'll also look at compensation. I remember, Honorable Commissioner, I will be calling you Honorable. You know this thing. You say, Effizy, say former. You're still the honorable that we know for now. Always an I remember when the issue of Gishiri came up. I mean, I remember the role you played in Gishiri to ensure that mediation was done properly, and also to ensure that the compensation gets to the people that it's supposed to get to. In fact, the conversation went a notch higher when we also started looking at what's the model of compensation, what is even the percentage, and looking at it from when it was set till 2025. But I don't know if we'll be looking at that again as it concerns Karasana. But let's take a listen to even what the current chairman of AMAC is saying about Karasana. And then when he also went on to say he was going to involve Mr. President, I was now wondering what happened to the minister of FCT. Why take a straight sling there?
I don't know. I mean, I remember, and we're going to listen to that again. But he was very vocal. He named names, called the real estate developer, Oceanic Properties and Equilibrium thereabouts, named their names, even threatened legal action. This was 2 weeks ago, and as at the last time we checked, we hadn't seen any efforts, as a follow-up to his rants and fuming and all of that. I think the last we saw on it were that the reps, someone said the natives should petition the House of Reps, which they did, and still nothing. And it just seems like, is that all we're going to get? Just fuming and ranting and all of that. But let's listen exactly to the current chairman, AMAC, on the issue.
That's me, Kalangu.
Yes.
What are you doing?
You're on.
FCT. This is an indigenous community that have been here for years, even before the creation of FCT himself. All these developers calling themselves developers, before they located this place, human beings exist here. These people do not come from Cameroon, neither from Egypt. They are from Nigeria. They are indigenous here. They are citizens of Nigeria. Overnight, without any notice from any court, no any compensation. They came down here yesterday, pulled down our houses. As you can see, these people are homeless. My question, where are they going to sleep today? Where do this man want them to sleep today? If something happens now, they say Bagi people are very stubborn. We are loving people. But we cannot tolerate this. There are measures and policies in terms of compensating our people. But this man called Oceanic Property on his own came down here and demolished these houses. Even when people are away, knowing that people are already away to their businesses, he came here yesterday, nobody at home, and he put down our houses. We, the indigenous people of FCT, will not take it. We are heading to court, and he must pay for it. Look at my people. They have nowhere to sleep. And they are Nigerians.
Indeed, they are Nigerians, but it seems 2 weeks after, no word as to whether these natives have actually been compensated or what the conversation is around the court. And it's pertinent that we bring this conversation back. We spoke about it when this first happened 2 weeks ago, but considering that over the years, especially in the FCT, I think Amnesty International has a report of over 20,000 families rendered homeless in forced evictions. The time frame sometime between around 2024 and leading up to 2025 as well. We are seeing more of these things happening. There is also the concern around the involvement and the role that security forces play in these things. You normally see the demolitions going on with the forces of with the presence of heavily armed police, and all of that, different across different parts of the FCT. So we'd like to speak to the issues, especially when it comes to the matters of compensation. I mean, sometimes you can't justify it. I think the FCT minister has justified on one or two occasions why certain demolitions had to take place in certain places. Maybe in his case, they were not necessarily, there were more of shanties and things like that. But even some of these shanties is what has happened as a result of these indigents or natives having really nowhere else to go. And so they set up, and then these structures look unpleasant. They look like, it's nothing that should be seen around your community. But a lot of these people are doing that because they've been forced out of their native lands and they have nowhere else to go. So what are we doing in terms of compensation? You have a Mekalangu saying we're threatening to go to court.
You even said we are going to court.
We are going to court.
I mean, when you look at it, just like you said, some people have been rendered homeless. And then you also want to look at the real people who own some of these places. If you as we speak today, and I stand to be corrected, and Honorable Ezekiwl is here, he can correct me on that. He knows those maps very well. The main indigenous people who are the owners of Wuse, where are they today? You know a place called Sabon Wuse in Niger State? That's where they were relocated to.
Outside of the
FCT. Now, the original inhabitant of this place near City Gate, Kukwaba.
Yeah.
You know where they are right now? They are somewhere in Kubwa. So, it feels like, let's bring it back home. So, let's say someone who is from Benin, who is from Agenebude, and then the government say, for some reasons, there is fuel here. So, we're relocating you from Agenebude to
let's look at the nearest one,
Fuga.
for example.
No, Fuga is it's on the same road. To Auchi.
Auchi is still like an hour away. Maybe you relocate them to where's that place now? Takete in Kogi State.
That's a very, very good example. You relocate them there because you feel that there's a longer stretch of land lying there and development might not come there. So in the line to bring development there, you put them there. Now, these are the issues. People are saying we're losing history of where we used to be. We're losing history of where our family land, our family everything. This is a place that we grew up. How do you point back, How do you come back? For example, someone who is in Sabon Wuse, who his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather was born in Wuse, and now he's in Sabon Wuse. How does he come back to any of these Wuse, whether Wuse the two or Wuse the zones? To say, it looks like, I think it's here, but now this office is now here, or this plaza is now here.
There's even the question of even the Sabon Wuse you took them to, or the Kubwa from Kukwaba that you took them to. Did you put them in homes? that would not become a source of concern for that community that you've relocated.
So, I think you're over-expanding the matter.
No, but
we're talking about the far-flung. You are now saying
if
there is a home there. Which home?
They should. You can't just demolish structures where that they had built their own houses and then take them somewhere else and just dump them on fallow land.
Interesting. Let's start with Mazi. Then we move to Honorable Dalhatu, and then we'll come to Mr. Madaki this morning. Mazi.
So good morning, Abuja. Number one, this issue looks like when I heard the voice of the chairman, Farmac, for me, I've really not been, permit me to say, his friend or kind of, I don't know how to put it, because he hasn't really done well in the way he's managed the Amac Area Council. This is my personal opinion, but it's a case of maybe leave the messenger, then pick the message that he's bringing. You understand? Because left for me, if not that there are people who they've lost where they sleep, maybe their source of livelihood, I just felt like this is not worth it because of who is bringing the message. How come it's now that we are seeing him? All the time that we had our primary schools, the healthcare centers, they were on strike. Where was he? You here, you couldn't reach any of them. They were not anywhere.
No,
you couldn't reach any of them. So now that he's coming out and he's even making statements and saying you are going to meet the president, you are going to meet, so okay, let the people feel like, oh, I'm still here, I'm working. Maybe because election is close, or maybe they will need him. You see, that's why I keep saying, before I now address the issue, number one, if we want to fix this nation, there are a few things that we need to kill. Kill in terms of end it. Do you understand me? We need to do away with certain things. I mentioned it last week. It might be religion, it might be tribe, it might be anything. We need to start looking at competence. Where I come from, Imo State, I don't care whether my zone, I've said it several times on this place, the time that the governor came from my local government, that was the worst moment of our life. What I benefited was siren.
Oh, wow.
In the morning, he won't sleep in Owerri. In the morning, he goes, and then in the evening, he comes back. And we had this chant. It was like this thing. In the morning, once we hear that siren, we say, oh, Gemino, which means he's going, Then when he's coming, we shout, oh, that means he's coming back. That was what we benefited. So why will you want somebody like me to wake up now and say, hey, my zone, Olu zone, Rocha has just left from Olu. Now we have the current guy up from Olu. Why would I say he's their zone? No, if it's only in Bise zone that will give me what will change my place, I'm okay. Let me see dividends of democracy. Let me see, now that you are there serving as my governor, let me see what am I benefiting. Bringing it back to him, to the issue at hand. They said, he mentioned the chairman mentioned that no compensation or something. I don't have details. Maybe what we have is what we read. Maybe Honorable might have more information than us. But let me speak based on when the Gishiri thing happened. You remember when they interviewed Barrister Nwike?
Yes.
When he said that in some places, some people were paid compensation, they didn't move. I don't know if you remember that case. And he now directed them to still pay another compensation so that they can now move. And then he also gave, I think the condition for even the Gishiri people was that you are not collecting money, you must take land so that when you are collecting this money, you know this money is going somewhere. So on this particular issue, based on what the chairman is saying, because for me, I'm just seeing him as a politician making statements just to try to mop up sentiment. I'm not taking him serious. I'm sorry. Right. My concern is only the people who are now, who have lost their houses. But we don't know if compensation has been paid and maybe they weren't given a space where to move to. Because if you giving me compensation, I say, okay, take this 1,000 naira. I should also be able to give me a piece of land so I can put something there. You don't just give me money. Where am I moving my family to? Some of them are farmers. Many of them are farmers. So if you give them, what do? They are losing. Maybe this planting season, you remember?
Yes.
If you've demolished maybe the Oceanic guy who owns the property or something. Maybe now he wants to start. That means the crops that they planted in that particular place are going to destroy those things. So have they been settled? Has government done anything before? I think that the chairman calling directly on the president, I think that is way out of the normal. He should be able to, I think, get in touch with the FCT administration first and then find out from them. Then if indeed government hasn't done anything in terms of compensating them and making them being relocated easy, before you can now start calling on the president.
All right, Mazi, thank you. Let's move to Honorable.
Good morning, everyone, once again for this opportunity. I keep asking myself the offense that the people of FCT, the indigenous people of FCT committed, that they are deserving this kind of treatment almost all the time. Asking of the offense means, what is it that they did very wrong? Did they put the cart before the horse? What I mean by that, was there anything they did wrong before the coming of the FCT? Or what is it that after the coming of the Federal Capital City, they committed that they all deserve this again? It's on record that the capital city of Nigeria did not just start from Lagos. Maybe a lot of people don't know this. Zungeru was once the capital city of this nation. After some time, Lokoja, being the confluence that the Oyibos enjoyed, if you go there, there is a mountain where they stand and name Nigeria. And then Calabar, then before going to Lagos even. So if you ask yourself the reasons why they didn't settle down permanently to be capital cities, there are so many reasons that has to do with ownership of the land. The people in Lagos till tomorrow have refused to concede their land to the federal government. Yeah. They still own their land. In Lagos, you remember, they still had governor, State House of Assembly till tomorrow, and it was still capital city of this nation. So there are foundational issues I keep talking about that unless and until they are addressed, we are just pretending to be practicing democracy. Okay, how do you explain the fact that you have some group of persons, more than 5 million, the people of the FCT, render stateless? They belong nowhere. Until recently, if your child is going to apply for JAM and the people are choosing states, he has nowhere to choose because FCT is not captured as state. Until recently. In fact, just the Porter Correctional Service, immigration opened for application. There was no space for FCT until we raised alarm over it. And then the site was shut down. They corrected it. So you keep asking yourself, what's the offense? Now, back to issue of Karasana. There are actually some information that you don't have, which I will give in form of update. For the AMAC chairman, I'm not a spokesperson, and so I won't take it up as my duty to speak for him. But what I know for a fact is that that media gap obligation to inform the general public of what's happening, we need to close it. But as someone who is on the ground, a grassroots person, Commissioner, Public Complaint Commission, PA to Minister before and all of that, and then we have transverse all over FCT, being the indigenous leader, pioneer leader for coalition, I'm on ground. What Kalangui is doing in terms of job, infrastructure, and all of that is massive. You can take this to the bank. It's massive. His managerial skills and all of that is different kettle of fish. But when you talk about development and all of that, and then reaching out to be accessible to the people, he is really doing massively on that. But just like you said, you have even tried to reach him a couple of times and then it's not forthcoming. His handlers, in terms of media and all of that, they need to really step up because he can't just be doing this and then nobody seems to hear about it. For Karasana, you could see how angry the chairman was. I had one or two information about it. What happened, that piece of land actually belongs to the police. an estate.
The police.
Yeah, for an estate.
Okay, we need to let
So
this sink in.
like police.
Police.
Yeah, police estate.
All right, I think we should go for a quick commercials. Then when we come back, we'll pick it up from there.
It has to sink in. This is new information. Let's take that break. When we come back, we'll continue.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
All right, it's still Town Hall here on your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. And when we say it's a full house, we mean it literally. You should go to our Facebook and YouTube where we are streaming live so you can be a part of the conversation and see the lineup of our elders and our guests on Town Hall this morning. Still Sumi and Effizy with Mazi Destiny Anthony, Honorable Dalhatu Ezekiwl, and Robert Madaki. We're talking demolitions and compensation. And Honorable dropped a landmine of information concerning the Karsana land. Let's get the rest of the updates so that we can have.
And then the oceanic man is developing it. If you go there,
you mean he's developing it for the police?
Yeah, as an estate. I'm sure. I don't have the details of whether it's a cooperative. You understand?
Yes.
But the development being done is for the police.
The people there you will see is the police officers where they can have a home and all of that. And I think it's been done by the Oceanic and they subscribe or whatever.
Okay.
It's a plan, which is a normal thing you can do. And so the what's it called? The developer, in all sense of honesty, after that demolition happened, the AMAC chairman, after visiting and he formed and all of that, there were some information that the developer has of his engagement with the community people right from time in 2013. They had engagements. They have some of relationship on how best the people that are on the land will be evacuated so they can continue with their development. That engagement has been going on even before Mekalangu would think of coming to be chairman. The recent happening that took place in Karsana, I also see it as part of communication gap, where certain things, certain information were not well placed.
Between who and who
Between
now?
the developer, the government, and even the community people. Because the chairman clearly said he was not even aware that development control are going there to do anything in terms of demolition. Nor did the developer inform the area council of their activity of going there to take them to demolition. What happened at the end of the day was the chairman, when we all intervened, called for a roundtable meeting where the developer was invited, the chairman was there, the community leader, and my former office, Public Complaints Commission, so we can sit and get to the root of it. There are certain information I won't lay out because it's an ongoing conversation. And the chairman also related to that meeting how he has been relating, giving feedback to the Honorable Minister and update on it.
On a project and that he had no full information about.
And then what is important at a point that we all agree was in full investigation have to be put in place for us to have the basis of what is the title of the allocation, what is it for, and who owns it, and what's the plan for the indigenous people that are on that land. So, but what we actually agree in the interim, because people's houses have been demolished and they are rendered homeless, this is rainy season, they need to earn a living.
Of the two people that were injured, I
chairman,
think one of them is said to have passed on as well.
Yeah, the other one, he was not shot actually. The trauma, of what happened,
losing his home,
and they incited, and then so you can't trace it to say he was killed or whatever. But the incident actually, the two people that were shot had sustained injury, they have been treated. So in all of this, the developer at the meeting with the chairman and all of us was actually forthcoming in terms of cooperating with the system to finding solution to what has happened. I must give it to that. Some of these developers, you wouldn't even see them to talk to you. They will say they have a location from FCT and all of that. This particular one came and he was cooperating. As we speak, he has agreed with the AMAC chairman and all the authority concerned at that meeting to join hands with the council to see how they can have temporary measure for the people's houses that were demolished. There is a committee that has been set up by the chairman, inclusive with the community and the public complaints community, indigenous groups, to go into the community. They visit the community to see people. They should have a sense of living. They should be given some of succor, giving out some money to take care of their immediate needs.
This is apart from compensation that is due.
No. Compensation is done by FCT. Apart from it's a comprehensive thing. That issue compensation. You don't just go throw money. That is not compensation.
But I mean, if this community has, rather the developer has been in communication, as you said, with the community members since 2013.
Yeah.
This is something that is over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And the land has been bought by the police, as you say, and development is about to start happening. 10 years in the making. We can't just now be starting the process around compensation. I think that is something that should have been. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you give us some information, but you say you don't have all the details. Maybe what would help us more with this conversation is when exactly was this land bought? Because it wouldn't have been, correct me if I'm wrong, the community leader will be in the process.
Of course.
He will be involved in the conversation around the buying of the land, right? So if you have the exact data as to when it was bought, for example,
I'm not sure it's buying. Usually it's allocation.
or just allocated.
Government will you apply, government will allocate. So
Okay.
that's why I say all of that process
Okay.
is what is being under investigation.
Investigation.
To know how
Okay.
it is. Yeah. But what is important is the incessant cases of demolition and infight in the FCT that needs to be addressed.
Clearly.
And that's why I started by saying, what is the offense? As we speak, just Saturday or so, there was an incident in Kuchibui
Yes.
where one person is confirmed is said to be killed in the process. Still issue of crisis surrounding the land.
So it speaks to a certain pattern that has become a thing here in the FCT, and that's why we're having this conversation. Because if it is done right the first time, there is a template on ground that allows for it to continue to be done right. Yes.
Which is the thing for concern, very serious thing for concern that we are raising. I think what is happening, and what I will say is, government need to be sincere in all they do with regards to this issue of development. Sometimes, how do you now have an allocation for someone on people's community? And who gives the allocation? It's government. They can't get it there. So you see that other Nigerians are being pitched against other Nigerians.
Because
Other Nigerians who have opportunity to have allocation against the indigenous people and their community.
Which brings me back to the part where I said, was the community leader not involved in that? At that point,
Inception.
you said that the developer has been engaging with this community. What are they engaging on? Other than the fact that, this is what, is on ground. Yeah. This is what you should expect. And that's why I said conversation around compensation should have started a long time ago. But
and I tell you,
we'll still
for
come
free,
back to that.
whatever the developer will do with the community, no matter how good it is, government is the only one with statutory powers to do it as it is. That's why whatever engagement he has been having with them is not fruitful, because he does not have the constitutional right to get it done to the latter. It is still government.
But there was approval from the Federal Capital Administration, somebody within that office, for this developer to undertake whatever they are doing on that land. And that's where we have to come to.
Those are also the issues. Those are the problem. Because,
so because
when you
approved it?
For example, I want to give I love Somi's face so much, and I feel like I want to give her a land, and I want to give her a land somewhere in central area, and then no due diligence, looking at whatever the map is saying in my office, not on ground, not to go and check the place on ground, not to send a surveyor from the office to say, go to that, this XYZ we are seeing, what is currently existing there. There was a time in FCT, Somi, which you are very well privy to, where people just buy paper. You just buy paper and you are holding paper. They say, do you have a land? Yes. Where? Somewhere in Musa. Then when you want to develop, you engage an architect, a surveyor. The guy carries a GPS and is walking around, and then he gets to a place, say, madam, banners, they on top this your land. Then the back and forth starts. It happened in Gishiri. This one, I wasn't told. I was involved in that conversation where a gentleman came. He came to see his land because his friend told him that he came back to Nigeria to see his land, only to discover that his land is a full community
with people. And
the first guy said, you know what? I'm not interested in developing anytime soon, but you know what I'll do? I'll fence the place. But the other guy said, when he started having conversation with people there, this guy was shocked, and he said, you know what? FCT, give me my land. And then they came to demolish without no conversation, no compensation.
That's a problem.
At best.
Let's hear from Mr. Robert Madaki on these issues. You're vying for office, and this is not campaign season, so you're not going to campaign. But we just want you to speak to the issues, really and truly. This is something that has plagued the FCT for too long. Too many lives and properties.
He wins in the ring, he will be saddled with this type of issues too.
So let's hear you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much again for this opportunity. Listening to the elders speak, a number of things have been highlighted, and I like the fact that in both statements we hear the word foundational issues or foundation, and when you look at Abuja, if you stay there long enough in Abuja, land issue is consistent. We all have people around us that have challenges with these land issues. And this issue that you raised about people still buying papers, they are still buying paper. They are still buying paper. I'm not going to go beyond saying that statement. I know that for a fact because on personal grounds, I have land in FCT and I know the drama that is currently ongoing around it. And I won't comment beyond that. Land that we've had in the family since 1982. And then there are 2 files on it. You understand? So I won't comment beyond that because it's in court. And but we'll leave that for the court to settle. So land issue in Abuja is a problem that it would take some form of revolution within the system, to correct it. With regards to the local government approach towards land issues in FCT, it's, for me personally, I think it's shocking that within my jurisdiction, I wouldn't know much of what is happening, and a lot of things are happening around your neck and around your area. So you have an issue of communication. Now, the issue of communication is both ways. It's one from the community and then also towards from government to the community. Leadership would require that within the area of your responsibility, that you have a full grasp of these issues. The issue of settlement of indigenous people in the FCT is an issue that has gone on for many years. And when you look at the names, like Commissioner stated earlier on, of most of the places in FCT, they are names of villages, they are names of towns that existed beyond. So you can't trace Meitama to Meitama Sule in Kanu, So it's a place. That place does not exist anymore because they've been displaced. And displacing people even far out of the jurisdiction of where they live or where they stay or where their land was acquired is terrible. Normally, standard for compensation for landed issues are supposed to be on the value of the land. So you don't degrade me. I have family members that had assets in Musa Zone 2, government assets, when they did buyer-occupier, owner-occupier project, and it was a good thing for many public servants then to own land, property. And a number of families, I know 2 families directly, that were involved. And they got this land, these properties, they were allocated, they were living there joyfully. And during the time and administration of El-Rufai, they came and they were displaced. And they are giving somebody from Musa to land somewhere around Giri, So we are looking at the issue of land allocation in the FCT and acquisition. The indigenous people of the FCT have suffered more because you see this is ancestral land. Now Nigeria, especially Abuja, is the only I will say Abuja is a mega city in Africa. A metropolitan city. It's the only metropolitan city of its stature that does not have provision for the preservation of the cultural heritage of the indigenous people in the FCT. I know that for a fact. If you go to Brazil, for example, you have the favelas. The favelas. There is a way to develop a community and integrate them into development without having to demolish them. So that's why when you go to places like China, you go to places like Hong Kong and places, you see some areas that are preserved culturally. Their cultural heritage is preserved, and the history behind that place you can tell, by just walking into the place, and that makes it a tourist destination. So now that's one side of it. But the side of administration of local government in the FCT, local government is meant to be the closest to the people. But in the FCT, it's the reverse. Because there is an interface that has happened, especially with the reference to the two disputes that we are currently reviewing, that there is an interface between government, that's the federal government or FCT administration, developer and the people. The FCT administration, developer and the people, there is an interface. So the local government is jumped in that. So there is no continuum. So it means that if the local government is not involved in the onset, they cannot be part of the solution in the long run, because the federal or the FCT administration and even the developers don't really see the local government as stakeholders in this thing. But these lands exist within AMAC, the local government. So, and I believe that there are constitutional provisions for that land administration by local government within that axis of where they are. So you have challenges with that. And the act or the recent development where the incumbent local government chairman went and spoke on TV and lamented and was calling names. It was the first time I would see that, and it's curious that it's months to kick off of or weeks to kick off of electioneering, campaigning and all those things. I would say that he doesn't have passion for his people, but I believe that the approach of the administration, the local government administration, has to change. It has to change. So because this demolition, with the current approach, there is an ongoing dialogue with the developer. The developer is responsive. And you have alluded to the fact that not all developers are responsive. So it means that this is a one-off. So it means that we are likely to have more demolitions. It means that when these things happen, there will be a reaction. So there's no proactive measure that has been put in place to ensure that going forward, we don't have these kinds of situation. Now, these things have happened before. It's not the first time that there will be a demolition. It's not the first time that there will be an outcry. It's not the first time that the media, the press will come out and highlight all these things with facts, But what happens after today? What happens? Because it's the police allocation. Now, a committee is set. You don't need committee to know when a particular place was allocated. It's a straightforward information that can be acquired by anybody who has access, to that information. This was allocated. So there is a systemic approach towards this thing that looks like people are being robbed of their heritage, people are being robbed of their homes, and go to court. It's like election now. Just go to court. Go and claim your case. The compensation I'll make reference to one incident in Lagos, and I think we can research it. Nigerian breweries and the Coca family. Not the Coca, I'll remember the name. So Nigerian breweries had this issue with land that was allocated to them by the government, and then there was a landmark judgment that gave the property back to the family that owned the land, in that area, because they were landowners, they were the owners of that particular area where the brewery is located, in Ojora. So now in FCT, most of these families and these groups do not have the capacity to go on a case for ages. That case must have done maybe around 20 years. I stand to be corrected, if not more. Now, in the case of the FCT, you have families that were already impoverished. Remember that many of these settlements were much bigger.
Yeah.
And with time, they kept shrinking them into smaller, manageable sizes that would be easy to displace eventually. There has to be a human face to development. There has to be a human face to demolitions. Is not the best strategy for economic development. The people that who live in these settlements provide services in the FCT that most of us cannot do.
First and foremost citizens.
They are citizens. So economically, there is we take a hit as a city when these things happen. You give settlements, the settlements are not even commensurate to what the people need. That's why somebody gets a settlement and he doesn't move out of the place. And on paper you come and you say, we settled him. But where will he move to?
So there must be an holistic approach to this thing.
Yes.
Because I mean, if you want to marry this conversation with what you just said,
Yes.
in terms of, I mean, someone is staying in Wusi, and then you are saying I'm compensating you. I want you to move from Wusi, and then you are taking to the person to far-flung Giri. I'm just wondering what you have done to that person in terms of social life, in terms of everything, in terms of work, in terms of the people who you also.
Sahel, I just remember something. You know, these ancestral home, the graves of their fathers, grandfathers, what happens to them? So I can't even take
maybe they want them to
my
move it.
grandchild and say, this is where my father was buried. This is where my mom was buried.
Yeah.
Those things are also gone. And for some of them, I visited somewhere where they always have this mango tree. That is just the way they want to stay.
Yes.
In most of these places, you can't find any of those things.
True.
This is the way they live. We sit under here. We can have this small clay pot here. This is how and then if you come to my community, my own village, there are certain things that you see. Even if you are born today, you know. Or my grandfathers, most of them now you can't trace. It's almost like they are now. It's like they migrated. They look like people who migrated from somewhere, like refugees. You know, hanging around. You know, but I just want to point out something. Just came to my mind. I feel like they should stop receiving compensation that is not what they got. The reason why I'm saying this is, if I have a property in Wuse 2 that is worth 500 million, and the Effizy approaches me and says, I want to build a bank, I want to build an industry here, but I have a piece of land somewhere.
Yes.
And now he takes me to Kubwa. The one in Kubwa is worth 100 million. You are supposed to balance me from so that I will get the value.
Yes.
But you see, at the same time, I get the point where you mentioned, you know, you keep pushing them to a point where it will be easy to handle them, push them off, and they can't fight because now they are smaller.
Yeah.
The best way now is that if you are offered what is not what you are losing,
Don't take it.
don't take it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do not take it. Secondly, you shouldn't just be moving people. Now we need this land. You said 2013, right? When this thing started.
Yes.
Abi, if you are decided, I'm moving them from here, let's just say the Degree place. There is nothing wrong in getting a primary school there already, getting a secondary school there, getting a healthcare center there already, create small market and everything. Then if you are not building for them, you've partitioned the land, now they are getting money to start building. A place is already prepared.
Set.
Then what do they need? There are people who need to move they still move dead bodies.
Yeah.
Somebody who buried like 40 years ago. I remember when I was in village, they brought one uncle. It was during the war somewhere where they buried him. Eventually, when the wife came back, he said, "Oh, we lost in the bed." Our family insisted we are going to bring it. Then when they exhumed whatever is left, now you can point and see these were. So some of these things need to be put into consideration. But I think that why I'm still not happy with the current AMAC chairman. I'm sorry. I see selfish move. But I don't see him having the welfare of his people at heart. This is my personal position, because for the fact that you had school shut for 3 months plus, and you were nowhere to be found. Nowhere. We went together now to his office.
Yes.
We didn't see you, and suddenly now you're coming out and you're acting like Rambo.
Just like Mike from Abuja says here on WhatsApp, he says, Sahel and Somi and the team. Mike from Abuja said, this election season and the AMAC chairman wants to leverage on the situation. I pity the people. Please, proper investigation should be made known. Why the developer did this. The people should be properly taken care of. And this is raining season. They should be given a permanent settlement, not being pushed from one place to another in the name of development.
Yeah.
You just carry them in the middle of forest.
That's why I was talking about homes, and you were saying, "Oh, it's looking like I'm asking for too much." Because at the barest, right, for them to, even if you give them some land, what they will have set up their shanties, and we already know the minister's position towards anything that is not a proper structure. If you say it's a community for rearing terrorists and what have you, and then the next thing, people who are actually indigenous will be tagged and labeled as settlers from outside of the FCT, and then you send them out.
All right.
So, now, at the meeting, there is something I raised, which we all agreed.
50 seconds before the break.
Okay. Break now?
Yeah, we have 50 seconds. So I'm just saying.
Just like he said, the development of FCT, allocation, implementation on ground, if you check the center, the area councils are actually nowhere placed.
Yeah.
We have agreed and we have submitted that at any point anybody is given allocation, the FCTA should communicate the area council to where this allocation is located. The person should even come to the area council. They have planning department, they have works department to say, I have an allocation here. Together they will go and assess the place. And if there is any place you want to remove because of security threat and what, it should not just start and end from FCTA. The area council should also be carried along for them to be informed on what is going to happen in that place so they can be part of it.
All right.
When I come back, I'll give you more insight on what should be done with
the MTN Mega Billion promo is finally here from Monday to Saturday at 7 p.m.
This is Nigeria Info.